Community Season 3 premiered September 22nd, 2011, and has Dan Harmon back writing a few episodes, as well as the Russo brothers continuing to direct the majority of the season. Season 3 of Community is easily above any other average sitcom, but how does it fare in Community standards? Let's start off with what I love about Season 3. Season 3 of Community takes risks. This sounds like familiar territory because I said the same thing about Season 2 and how it was not afraid to be a unique and creative show, but Season 3 goes to the heights that Season 2 did and goes even higher. Nearly every single episode this season is high concept, meaning each episode has its own unique twist or spin on it that makes it stand out. While Season 1 focused primarily on character-driven plotlines and comedy, Season 2 went a step further and put those well-developed and well-written characters into unique and interesting concepts. And Season 3 goes even further. There are some really insane plotlines this season, one of which being the creation of alternate timelines. Season 3, Episode 4, Remedial Chaos Theory, is often regarded as the best episode of Community by the fans. What makes it so great is the characters are all put to great use in a high-concept idea. Jeff rolls a die to see who has to go get the pizza, and each roll creates an alternate timeline where someone else gets the pizza, causing a chain reaction of different events to occur. This episode isn't only great on its own, but the effects of this episode carry on throughout the season with the creation of the Dark Timeline. This is the timeline where Troy has to go get the pizza, and a chain reaction of horrible events happens, leading to the creation of the Evil Study Group, more specifically, Evil Abed. Evil Abed has a big role this season in the development of Abed as a character, as well as some evil plotlines throughout the season, like when Britta tries to give Abed therapy. Everything I just said must sound kind of ridiculous. Alternate timelines, Evil Abed, it's all kind of crazy, but that's what makes Season 3 so special, and the majority of it works so well. There are so many fantastic high-concept episodes here, like Basic Loop in Urology, the Law & Order parody episode, Pillows and Blankets, the War documentary episode, Regional Holiday Music, the Glee Club/Christmas musical episode, and Documentary Filmmaking Redux, a personal favorite of mine, which is a documentary about making films, and who can forget Digital Estate Planning, an episode entirely in an 8-bit video game world. All these episodes and more add to the unforgettable catalog of unique and hilarious Season 3 episodes. Not only are these episodes high in concept, but they are also funny. The writers really understand these characters by this point in the show, and they know what makes them funny, what makes them relatable, and why we love them. We love Jeff because of his speeches he gives to the study group and his narcissistic and sarcastic comments. We love to hate Britta, even though she has her moments to shine. We love Troy because of his incompetence and sensitivity. We love Abed because of his references and meta humor. We love Annie because she's the voice of reason and a spark of youth within the study group. We love Shirley because she's a strong leader and a mother figure. And we love Pierce because of the wildly offensive things he says while still having a good heart. During my first watch of Season 3, I never really enjoyed the last stretch of episodes. Everything after the study group got expelled was kind of a blur to me, and I remember not liking it that much, finding it boring and a little bit too absurd. I realize now that I looked too harshly on those episodes because I was so used to the clever parodies, homages, and meta humor of the rest of the episodes that the final few just seemed too normal to me. Now, I know it sounds weird to say that given what happens in these last few episodes, but all of it was so grounded in reality that it just felt off to me. However, on a rewatch, those final few episodes are actually some of the best of the season. The episode where Abed goes to therapy is really well done and actually very funny, and although the story itself is kind of stupid, I think it's a great episode. The finale of Season 3 is easily my favorite season finale thus far. I forgot how amazing this episode was. It's so heartwarming, and the speech Jeff gives at the end is fantastic and really topped off a great season of Community. Now, I've gone on long enough gushing about how great this season was, but there is a reason I'm not as crazy about the season as I am about Season 2. While I do think Season 3 has higher highs than Season 2, it also has much lower lows, and that drags it down as an overall season for me. It all has to do with some story choices that I find not funny at all or just incredibly stupid. Take Troy and the air conditioning repair school, for example. At first, I understood what they were doing with that story in Season 2. It was the whole lesson of do what you love, not what everyone wants you to be, something along those lines, but This season just goes off the rails and ridiculous with such a grounded and real-life concept. Troy is picked to go to the air conditioning repair school by John Goodman, who plays the vice dean, and his entire subplot alone brings this season down a notch for me. I personally don't think any of it's funny at all. It has no reason to even be in this season, and the emotional payoff it did have at the end meant absolutely nothing because Troy had to enroll in the school to save the study group from being kidnapped, but literally in the next episode, he's out of the school. The vice dean is murdered by the guy who wants to be the vice dean. He goes to jail, and that's the last we ever hear of the school again. An entire subplot woven throughout the entire season that was built and started in season 2, a truckload of unfunny jokes and moments with John Goodman, wasted screen time getting Troy to join the stupid school, all for literally nothing. I truly don't understand what they were thinking with this subplot. Another subplot I cannot stand is Chang taking over the school. There's a reason I have a problem with the AC repair school and things like Chang taking over. It's because it's still supposed to be based in reality. Everything we have seen thus far in this show is based in reality and makes sense. There is not a single episode of Community thus far where I think it would never happen. Even the high concept episodes, like the one where they all tell scary stories, all take place in their heads, and the alternate timeline Abed is a figment of Abed's imagination manifesting itself in physical form for the sake of the story. But Chang taking over the school is not some meta joke, it's not a parody or homage, it literally happens in the real world at Greendale. How does that make any possible sense? I can stretch my imagination pretty far for this show, but I found this plotline insanely stupid. It starts out fine though, with Chang getting a security job at Greendale, being homeless and all living in the room in the cafeteria. That episode where he burns down the caf with all those matches is actually a pretty funny episode to me, because Ken Jeong is a fantastic comedic actor, and the lines he was given were so absurd and hilarious. But then he hires an army of middle schoolers, and they all somehow get jobs working as security for Chang. Then they invade Greendale. Chang kidnaps the dean, replaces him with a fake, and takes over the school in an attempt to blow it up with bombs and fireworks. Like, seriously? This is the stuff they came up with. It's so absurd because it's supposed to be actually happening in real life. But I just can't buy any of it. I don't find any of it funny, and besides the single part of the episode where they planned the elaborate heist, I don't care for this sub-story at all. Now, look, it may sound like I picked two really specific plot lines to complain about, but those are two major plot lines this season, and they really bother me, so I had to give my honest opinion. But overall, this season is still way better than anything else you're getting from other sitcoms. It's still funny as ever. The dialogue is witty, sharp, and all the actors pull their weight, which is desperately needed in an ensemble cast sitcom. One of my favorite parts of season 3 is we get so much more of the Dean. Craig Pelton is such a great character and has the funniest subtle lines and moments that fly over your head the first time you watch, but they catch you off guard the second time and make you burst out laughing. The transition of the Dean from side character to main character is so well done, and I'm so glad they did that because it adds such a unique and interesting dynamic to the group. There's also a gold mine of running gags involving the Dean, such as his love for Jeff, his Dalmatian obsession, and him walking into the study room with a weird costume. And I can't forget, the best thing the writers ever did on this entire show was the Dean puns. It gets me every single time they find clever ways to involve the word Dean in phrases he says, and Jim Rash has such great delivery in the same vein as the Chang puns, but the ones for the Dean just hit different. The Dean, in my opinion, is just a cherry on top of the already phenomenal casting characters that truly make Community so special. Now, it probably sounds like I had a lot to complain about for season 3, but trust me, I appreciated it so much more the second time watching, and to be honest, it helped me really understand what I didn't like about this season. And considering the last 2 seasons had virtually no flaws in my eyes, I'm going to have to single out the flaws when I see them, so pointing out the flaws in a virtually flawless television show is going to make them stand out. Like I said, season 3 has the highest highs thus far of Community, but it also has some pretty weak points that stop it from topping season 2 for me. Given a few episodes here and there, it is still endlessly rewatchable and insanely clever and funny. It's amazing how the creators of the show were able to keep such a solid streak of unique, creative, and original ideas and comedy flowing and have it work for so long. Hope they can keep it up for season 4, right? Right? Well, those are my thoughts on season 3 of Community. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on season 3? Does it surpass the previous 2 in your opinion? Do you share the same problems I have with it? Do you love the Dean as much as I do? Let me know. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you all in the next review.